From an evil Disney Easter egg to a shocking discovery in a kid's game, these are 22 Easter eggs that backfired. The Stanley Parable is full of secrets, but there is one hiding in a painting that absolutely roasts Nintendo. In the original, you can find business strategy, a portrait that's already kind of terrifying, but the devs secretly updated this on the Switch. Coming back to this room, you'll now find Mario holding the gun in business strategy, and let's just say Nintendo wasn't exactly happy. Now that didn't cause any real damage, unlike the time a developer cost Microsoft $500,000. While making Halo 2, the devs pranked the CEO by mooning him and taking a photo of it. They thought it'd be funny to upload it as an error file called .ass where it'd never be found, but this came back to haunt them. When Halo 2 did release, it was forced to add nudity to the rating, causing not only a complete recall and a ton of money, but also an employee. But an Easter egg that was hopefully accidental can be found in Evil West. The spiders in game are already creepy enough, so the devs kindly added a setting that turns them off. But be warned, if you toggle the setting too many times, it actually quadruples the spiders, so good luck sleeping at night. And in Death Stranding, if you're some kind of weirdo, you can zoom in on Sam's crotch. Now this will cause him to be embarrassed, but for anyone who didn't catch the hint and keep staring, you'll get exactly what you deserve. Speaking of being a jerk, Far Cry 6 has an Easter egg that only the worst kind of people will find. You can get an adorable dog named Chorizo who walks around with a wheelchair. But if you aim your gun at this little guy, it'll completely backfire. And I don't know why this secret appears in a kid's game, but in Nicktoons Attack of the Toy Bots, the developers threaten you. One of the toys in the factory is called Mr. Huggles, and if you enter FreeCam to read the upside down text, it says, "I'll mug you and kill you, you'll never sleep again, and I'll kill your parents." I mean, this is a little dark, Nickelodeon. And while that's pretty strange, at least the game didn't almost literally hurt people. With the release of Burnout 2, the devs put out a marketing campaign that was, well, straight up illegal. Anyone caught speeding on the same day of release would have their tickets paid for by the devs, and you could already see how horribly wrong this could go. The government immediately stepped in and forced them to stop because people could have actually died. But something way less serious is in Cyberpunk 2077. Heading to the Dewdrop Inn, there's plenty of hotel rooms to check out, but one of them requires you to bust open the door, which reveals a interesting robot dance. Still not as awkward as finding out your Easter egg caused a game to be taken off shelves, and that's exactly what happened with Tiger Woods 99. Now, the PlayStation disc had a file called ZZ Dummy, which was a VHS recording of the first South Park episode. It was likely meant to be a placeholder that never got deleted, and considering that it's on PlayStation, nobody was supposed to find it. Well, that was until a curious mom popped it in the PC, which led to the game being recalled over 100,000 times. And while we're on the topic of adult cartoons, the Family Guy video game is full of Easter eggs, but none of them are quite as controversial as this. You can find God himself as a character, and if you try to slap him, it doesn't end well. And I don't know why devs keep hiding weird things in kids' games, but in SpongeBob Saves the Day, there's a hidden enemy in the files called Yummer, and he's one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. Now, people have been investigating the story behind this character for years, and to this day, no one knows why he's in the files. Something even more controversial is in Mario Kart, and it's crazy how many people actually miss this. In Double Dash and Mario Kart Wii, there's a track called Peach Beach, which you'll probably recognize. But the real surprise is this huge pink rock, which I don't even know how someone approved. Now, this reminds me of Banjo-Tooie, where you can also see some really suspicious rocks from a sky view. That was definitely on the lighter side, but now we gotta talk about Postal, where things take a dark turn. In one of the houses, you can find an Easter egg that's referencing The Sims. Now, this seems pretty innocent until you realize the famous plumb bobs that float above their head just impaled the entire family. But I'm even more shocked to learn about Ratchet & Clank's inappropriate secret. If you guys didn't know, all of the games are named after innuendos, but nothing is quite on the nose as this alien girl. If you jump over her multiple times in a row, her chest will get bigger with every jump, and I just hope you guys didn't play this one with your parents. I don't recommend playing Roblox alone though, especially if you're gonna activate these horrifying cheat codes. Inside of the console, there's plenty of admin commands like I love you and always watching. And if you enter either of these, a video of a clown rubbing his face will appear, and there's no way to close the video. And it gets even weirder if you type kidnap into the console, which does this. And if clowns weren't disturbing enough, Call of Duty made people uncomfortable with a burger mascot. In Cold War, you could find this statue that has a big red button on the side to place your order, and pressing it causes him to say things like,
"Tasty! Our meat even tastes like meat!"
A grenade launcher then falls down, and most people think it's their reward for finding the Easter egg, but if you keep pressing the button over and over, he'll eventually say,
"You're gonna love my meat inside you!"
But did you know that Among Us, despite being a lighthearted indie game, actually committed a war crime? In 2020, the medbay doors had this red cross on the sign, and if you look at it in 2023, they're changed to blue. This is because displaying a red cross is against the Geneva Conventions, and anyone who does it is technically a war criminal. Now, obviously, the devs were just politely asked to change it, but this could have gone so much worse. Something that we all feel bad for laughing about is in SpiderMan, when a wholesome secret turned disastrous. A fan asked Insomniac if they could put Maddie Will You Marry Me in-game so he could propose to his girlfriend of 5 years. And on release day, you could jump in and find this proposal at a theater, but don't get your hopes up. It quickly came to light that Tyler had broken up with his girlfriend before release, and he claims she cheated on him with his own brother. And while that was pretty harsh, it's still not as unexpected as the controversial voice lines from Wallace and Gromit. This was a Telltale game that not many people knew about, but in the files, the devs left behind some insane outtakes.
I'm sure everyone will give generously at the fair this weekend. What the weekend? What am I talking about?
But there's an Easter egg in Watch Dogs that makes everyone uncomfortable. The premise of the game is hacking, so it's no surprise you can look into people's apartments and stalk them through CCTV. Now, this is pretty controversial by itself, but there's a scene where you can watch two people talking in the kitchen. At first, you think this guy's just a real plumber, but hacking the profile tells you otherwise. These two have the exact same last name, so now you're just stuck watching a married couple roleplay.
I'm afraid you might not be able to fit your tools.
Hey, don't let the size intimidate you, man.
What?
And if you're gonna make a fan game, there's two companies you don't want to mess with, and that's Nintendo and Disney. So when Five Nights at Treasure Island came out, you'd expect the devs to be careful. But one of the games has secret enemies, like this guy who references a famous creepypasta. As an even larger middle finger, they also added two enemies called D's and Nuts into the demo, and they originally played sound bites of Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, I'm coming to get that A.
And when the final did release, it had a different voice actor that said this.
Great. They really had to redo my voice, didn't they?
From an Easter egg about Disney to one made by them, the new LEGO Star Wars has this terrifying cutscene that features a creepy droid. While this isn't controversial on its own, some people investigated further and learned that it's a reference to a droid called Nobot. He wanders Tatooine alone, screaming at anyone who comes near him, and I gotta say, this is pretty creepy for a LEGO game. But I can't make this video without bringing up the most problematic Easter egg in gaming history that almost got violent video games banned in America. GTA San Andreas was working on a minigame they decided to cut at the last minute, only for it to be left on the disc. This led to hackers putting a patch online that you could download, and it would unlock the files, revealing the Hot Coffee game. You could actually bring dates back to your bedroom, and I'll let your imagination fill in the blanks. It was way too interactive. The backlash caused the game to be changed from mature to adults only, and it was pulled from shelves even though Hot Coffee wasn't even playable. And those were Easter eggs that backfired. It's been Sammy. Keep it here on T5G.